Hello everyone and welcome to Sim Racing Online for round 7, the final round of season 2 of the F1 Classic 1967 series. We're here in qualifying for what is about to be a championship decider. Of course, coming into this final round of the championship, Yucca Drug and Tim Muttram, the protagonists, are separated by just 2 points. It's pretty much anyone's game between the two of them. And it's going to be very, very exciting indeed, I'm sure. As I've said, we're currently in qualifying. We're watching Martin McLoone, who is about to be the first driver to set a flying lap, I think. Currently top of the order, of course, because he was the first to start his lap. We're actually using the 10K layout of the Monza circuit today, which of course uses not just the oval and not just the road course, but both at the same time. Effectively, how it works is you go around the road course, then you go around the oval, and that counts as a lap, the whole package. It's a really interesting concept, and it's an interesting track. It's a real classic, last used in this layout in Formula 1 in the year 1960, and we're using it again here with Sim Racing Online. Martin McLoone crosses the line. It's a 2:21.601. That's his benchmark, and it immediately gets beaten by our championship protagonist plus John Van der Geest. So Van der Geest there going to the top with a 2:19.446, and also Tim Muttram second, 2:19.633. Max Shepard goes to third place with a 2:19.853. Let's watch John Van der Geest. He's in the slipstream here of Yucca Drug up ahead of him, which of course will be helping him down the straight. However, he's also giving a decent slipstream to Phil Brown behind, and it's like watching a race here as they're all very much together. And you're going to see this coming into effect a lot in the race. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming going on and a lot of drivers swapping places on the straight. Of course, we saw that last season when we raced at the Monza circuit. However, last year, of course, last season, we raced at just the road course. We did not use the oval as well. So an interesting concept, and one the 67 cars didn't actually get to experience, as of course in 1967 they only ran the road course, but that's probably for the better, judging by the speeds that these cars get on the oval. So as this pack of cars stream across the wrong part of the start-finish straight, you can see we actually have another interesting thing about this track, which is that we have a separate pit straight and start-finish straight. So the start-finish straight isn't the straight with the pit on it. It looks like the same straight, and it technically is the same straight, but in terms of the actual track layout, it isn't, due to the hay bales down the middle of the pit straight. If that's too confusing, you're about to see it with your own eyes when John Van der Geest comes out of what is this final corner, and then you see how it works. There's the parabolica to your right hand side, and there's the line of hay bales effectively separating the two straights. Yucca Drug, meanwhile, goes to the top of the order with a 2:19.290, getting a really nice slipstream from Martin McLoone. John Van der Geest improves on his lap, but doesn't improve in the order. He goes second with a 2:19.4, and everyone else streams through behind. Let's have a look at Bill Garucock, who's running on his own with no toe, and that's something you very much don't want to have here at Monza. You very much want to find yourself in in and amongst the action. He improves his lap and stays 8th. So that shows you the effect of not running in the toe. Here's Jens Roos, who's yet to set a qualifying lap, actually. He's coming out to the final corner now and about to set... Actually, that's not the final corner, that's the penultimate corner. The first corner on the oval, to set his first flying lap. In one of the only Brabhams that we have here today. It may well be the only Brabham, because I don't think... Actually, I think Bill Garucock may be using a Brabham, so ignore me on that one. Jens Rees comes out of the final corner now, and keeps it to the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, but the right side of the yellow line and crosses the start-finish straight to actually post an out lap, so that wasn't his first flying lap there. John Van der Geest is in the pit lane, so I'm not entirely sure if he's going to get out again in time to challenge and set another flying lap, but he's in the pit lane for now. So in terms of the championship order, it's Tim Muttram at the top of the order with 43 points from Yuka Drug's 41. The two of them both have 2 wins to their name. However, Yuka Drug has 3 pole positions to Tim Muttram's 1, and if he takes pole position here, there will only be 1 point separating them going into the race. Following them in the championship, we have Fabrizio Ferrante in a battle for third with Matteo Santini, Daniele Scarpa, it's Reese hits the wall, and Phil Brown. That's for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th positions in the championship. And now that Brown's hit the wall, actually, let's go back into the cars that have a bit of tow and look at Fabrizio Ferrante keeping... and Tim Muttram goes to the top now with a 2:19.079. So one of our championship protagonists goes to the top, and that's essential because, of course, that would separate the two of them by 3 points in the order, as Ferrante improves his lap there. But yeah, that would separate the championship protagonists by 3 points going into the race. And of course, you get 3 points for a win in comparison to the second place. So a win is 9 points, second place is 6. Meaning, of course, that if Muttram was to take pole and then Drug was to win, with Muttram second, I believe that Drug would just about win the championship for more wins and a better average. Actually, I'm not sure if he would have a better average finishing position. But anyway, Steen Tudel there jumps up to 8th position, and I think he's in a Brabham, so I was wrong to say that there was only one Brabham, as Martin McLoone there stops on track and escapes back to the pits. I'm not sure if he meant to do that or not. Following Brown in the championship, the top 6, of course, we have John Van der Geest 7th, followed by Lewis Dufour, Max Shepard and Bill Grucock. Those are the top 10 in the championship, and those, I think, are the drivers that we have here today. No, they're not, because I don't think we have a Lewis Dufour, and we do have a Jens Roos in their place. So anyway, that's how they are coming into this round. You see the oval in the background there. I think I had someone trying to do a spin turn. Yeah, indeed, there's someone off in the gravel there at the Parabolica. Not entirely sure who that was. Muttram is in the pits, and he does just about have time to start a lap if he comes. In fact, he's exiting the pits now, so Muttram exits the pits and sets up for his next flying lap. He's just ahead of Phil Brown there, who goes through on the oval banking. Of course, on a normal track, you wouldn't have time to start another lap if you went out of the pits then. But, of course, because the pit straight and the start-finish straight are separate, that means that he will have time to start another flying lap, which could be the essential lap in this session. Phil Brown coming through here with, I think, John Van der Geest just slipstreaming. Actually, that's Max Shepard there, slipstreaming his way through on the inside, and Shepard will be getting a really decent tow on this lap, so we'll see exactly how that ends up affecting his time. Brown's lap won't be quick. What about Shepard's? Crosses the line now, and for Max Shepard, it is not an improvement, because I think he's just going onto a lap. He is indeed. Now, where's Drug? Because here he is. Drug is just coming through on another flying lap, and this, I think, will be his last opportunity. Tim Muttram is just starting his first lap now. I really hoped we were about to see another car come shooting past the oval there. And actually, if you watch the oval section in the background, you may well see another car going past. It's a really spectacular shot when you can get it. But of course, you have to have 2 cars at exactly the right point on the circuit to achieve that. Yuka Drug through the Parabolica, kicking out the tail. Let's ride on board with him. And I don't think that looked particularly quick on exit. But then again, this is a car with not too much aero, so it's a tricky corner. Of course, the Parabolica was where Jochen Rindt, unfortunately, was killed in another Lotus 49, very much like the one the Yucca Drug is driving here, but with a front wing. And possibly a few suspension upgrades as well. And Yucca Drug now is coming towards the end of his flying lap to set an essential time. Is this going to be, as the checkered flag falls now, is this going to be pole position for Yucca Drug and a championship point? Effectively 2 in the championship fight. Or as Muttrum's in the pits, making this even more essential. Is this going to be pole for Yucca Drug, or is he going to have to lose a point to Tim Muttrum? Crosses the start-finish line, and it is pole! It's a 2:18.842. I say it's pole, it's provisional pole. That is, unless someone else can take it away from him. Fantastic lap there from Yucca Drug. Here comes Fabrizio Ferrante, and Ferrante stays 5th, although does improve his time. What about Max Shepard? Shepard's been flying in the Eagle. He comes through the final corner now, and exits onto the start-finish straight. Can he take anything out of the leaders here as he powers his way across the start-finish line? Oh, he can! He goes 3rd! That's an excellent lap from Max Shepard. He goes 3rd, but of course can't demote any of his main rivals. What about John van der Geest? He stays 4th. He does. He missed out on 3rd place by 8 thousandths of a second there. And that is it in the session. I don't believe that, well, Muttrum has escaped onto the track again, but he's not going to be able to start another flying lap. He's just gone out too late there. So that's it. It's Yucca Drug who takes pole position, followed by Yucca Drug. Followed by Tim Muttrum, sorry. Max Shepard, John van der Geest, Fabrizio Ferrante, as Muttrum sees the checkered flag there. Phil Brown, Marty McLean, Steen Tudal. And then it's Bill Grucock and Jens Roos. And I'm not entirely sure why the session hasn't ticked over yet, because Tim Muttrum hasn't, well, he won't be on a flying lap here, since he crossed the start-finish line when the checkered flag was already out. And I don't believe that Ferrante's in the pits. So indeed, that is the session over, unless there happens to be another current track that we don't know about, one that maybe hasn't set a time yet. I don't think there is. Indeed there isn't. This is just a nice little drifting display from Tim Muttrum, but whatever the case, hello to everyone joining us in the YouTube chat. Raccoon says hello and good night, everyone. Indeed, this is going to be a good night. We're going to witness some furious racing action between two championship contenders, Yucca Drug and Tim Muttrum, now separated by just 1 championship point. Heading into this race, it's effectively whoever finishes ahead out of the 2 of them wins the championship. Also, hello to Brett Metcalf, who says, good evening, gents. Only gents, eh? No, don't worry about it, it's okay. But anyway. So, there you see the order. It's going to be Yucca Drug on pole position in the Lotus, followed by Tim Muttrum in the Honda. You couldn't write a better script than this, as the 2 championship protagonists on the 1st and 2nd grid slots, leading into a championship race separated by just 1 point. In 3rd place, we have Max Shepard in the Eagle. It's an all-Eagle 2nd row with John van der Geest 4th, then Fabrizio Ferrante is in 5th place. Technically, it's not an all-equal 2nd row of the grid, since I believe they're 3 wide there. Phil Brown is P6, followed, Phil Brown is P6 in the 2nd Cooper, followed by Marty McLean, and then it's Steen Tudal, Bill Grucock, and Jens Roos. The Brabhams all seem to be struggling here, if you look, and I think that's because they are down on power. So, we head now into the race. We're waiting for the lights. We're going to get 6 red lights. When they come on, we will hear the revs rise, and when they extinguish, we will be underway here at Monza for 45 minutes of championship deciding action. Here we go. Who's going to be crowned? Go! Away we go, and we are off down the pit straight. Let's look to the head of the order. If we can, as Max Shepard jumps up to 2nd. He's actually jumped Yucca Drug here. So Drug has been jumped, and sorry about the flashing. It's going to be Tim Muttram leading into turn 1, followed by Shepherd, and then Drug P3 and John Vandergeest P4. We exit turn 1 and head through turn 2. Here's Max Shepherd actually going for the lead now with the slipstream. Shepherd to the inside of the Lesmoos. And can he make it stick? Drug's going very, very sideways and just about holds it. But Max Shepherd takes the lead of the race ahead of Tim Muttram. And essentially there, Muttram has got ahead of Yucca Drug. So Muttram takes the lead of the championship, takes championship winning position. As we head down towards Ascari, Muttram again to the outside of Shepherd. And there's no chicane here, of course, so no heavy braking zone. And Shepherd holds the line through the corner. It's Shepherd, Muttram, Drug, Vandergeest, Ferrante, the top 5. Look at the Brabhams going side by side in the background. That's not the Brabhams, actually, because Phil Brown has dropped right to the back. And the championship protagonists are side by side with Drug going around the outside of Tim Muttram. Can he get it stopped in time? He's going wide on the exit, and Muttram's coming back at him as we head down the start-finish straight now. Or the pit straight, not the start-finish straight, of course. It's Yucca to the outside, Muttram to the inside, and Yucca Drug I think is just about going to have the legs, but I don't think he's going to be able to quite get through in time for the corner. Muttram has the inside, although he's down over the yellow line and has to back out of it, and through into third place now goes John Vandergeest. So Vandergeest is up into third, Muttram is down into fourth now as Vandergeest challenges Drug for second as they head off the banking. Vandergeest going through on the inside and Drug pulls into the slipstream again. So it's now the two Eagles 1-2. Drug goes down over the yellow line on the inside, and that's not the ideal line through the banking as it's such a tight bank. And John Vandergeest keeps second position ahead of Yucca Drug. We've also had a change for 6 there as Brown's past Tudal. Now he was in 10th position earlier in the lap, but now in 10th position is Marty McLoone, who's actually in the pits. So I think there's been an incident further down as Drug comes back at Vandergeest and claims second position on the inside. So Drug through into second and puts a car between him and Muttram essentially. At the end of the first lap it's Shepherd, followed by Drug, Vandergeest, Muttram, Ferrante, Brown, Tudal, Grucock, Roos and McLoone, who may be out of the race, I'm afraid. And now Drug's running very, very wide, as is Shepherd. And Vandergeest is up the inside of Yucca Drug. And doesn't get the move done because he has to back off there into the second Lesmo. But that is going to give Vandergeest a good run down towards Ascari, because he's going to have the slipstream on the back of Yucca Drug's Lotus 49. And as they drift, all-wheel drift through Ascari, Vandergeest is attempting to set Drug up for Parabolica. However, of course, most of the overtakes of this track won't be done under braking, as there aren't many heavy braking zones, and even the ones that there aren't really that heavy. But it's all going to be done mainly in a straight line. It's going to be mainly due to exit speed and slipstream. Here they come towards the Monza banking. The banking that's still there and still almost fully intact, in fact, but isn't used anymore for racing due to it being so dangerous and so steep. And it is some of the steepest banking ever made. I'm not sure quite how steep it actually is, but I've seen videos of people rolling things down there. And up the inside goes John Vandergeest, and he slipstreams his way past Yucca Drug again. So again, it's an Eagle 1-2, but Drug comes back at him on the second banking, puts his wheels down over the yellow line on the inside, and you are allowed to do that. However, it's not ideal as it's very bumpy down there. And John Vandergeest goes back through into second place. So it's Eagle, Lotus, Honda. And John Vandergeest sets fastest lap of the race with that one at the end of lap 2. As of course it is only the end of lap 2. And Drug immediately slipstreams his way through again towards turn 1. Gets it done before the turn-in. And Vandergeest is going to be running wide. And Muttram goes over the curb on the inside. And through into second has indeed gone Yucca Drug. Now, can he break away from John Van der Geest and set about chasing Max Shepard? Or is he going to come under serious attack? Brett Metcalf says, hope a safe race for the drivers. Indeed, that's what I'm hoping as well. Also, good heavens, what a drift, in reference to Tim Muttram's drift on lap 1, which gave Max Shepard the lead of the race. But Shepard is now under heavy attack in the slipstream from Yucca Trug, so that's definitely not safe for the time being. And I can imagine we're probably going to have many, many changes of position over the course of this race, including for the lead. Here comes Drug on the outside. Can Shepard outbrake him? He does, but he runs wide enough, and Shepard is in the gravel. Our race leader is off, and he's going to be losing many positions. Through goes Van der Geest, and Muttram spins! Muttram spins and drops down to P6, and Yucca Drug is leading the race. And that's highly dramatic in terms of not just the race, but the championship. My goodness me, Tim Muttram has lost it down to P6, and he is going to be gutted, and he's going to have to rely on slipstreaming his way back through the order. But that is going to be a real breath of fresh air for Yucca Drug. He has no contention in terms of the championship now for the time being. Goodness me, what a dramatic turn of events in this race. And even if he gets passed now by John Van der Geest, which looks very, very likely, he's still going to be well and truly in championship winning position. And if that determines the championship, Muttram is going to be so, so gutted. And as he was spinning there, he would have felt like... it's how it feels when someone takes the seat out from underneath you. As Yucca Drug sets fastest lap there and thus secures another championship point. Or doesn't secure it, but puts a foot towards taking it. Tim Muttram has managed to pass Phil Brown now, so he's up into P5. However, he's running wide there. Curva Grande and getting over the curb again. And Brown may come back at him here on the exit. And he does indeed, and Phil Brown may go back through into 5th place. It all depends on who can get the better braking zone down into turn 5. And it's Tim Muttram who comes out on top for the time being. Here are our leaders. Drug followed by Van der Geest. And it's Lotus, Eagle, Cooper. Mighty McLean says, loaded my gearing for a race that was totally wrong. Fed up and finished racing for a while. Thanks to the commentary, Caitlin. Kept it fun. Oh, that's a huge shame, Martin. And I'm really sorry to hear that's happened to you. But hopefully we will see you back in the future. Possibly need a bit more testing time. But anyway. Yeah, huge shame. And sorry to hear it. Thanks for joining us this season. Here's the fight for 6th place, and Muttram will need to keep this if he wants to keep his championship fight alive. Brown only just on the tail, only just on his tail, sorry. MK3424 says, are they using the layout with the oval or only the GP one? Does this answer your question? We are using the GP and the oval, as you can see, and it's a really interesting configuration and a really thrilling one as well. It's flat out, I think something like 90% of the time. And to be honest, I really quite like that. I'm a really big fan of oval racing, and it's great to see it being used here, even with the circuit as well. Of course, it's pretty much the only circuit in the world that does it like this. MK3424 says, love it with the 1955 F1 cars. Yeah, I'm sure 55 F1 cars are great around here as well. Of course, the Roadsters with the front engine layout. Ideal around here, and I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. But yeah, these are, of course, the 1967 F1 cars. But yeah, of course, the story about that is that in 1960, which was the last time that this configuration was used in Formula 1, the rear-engine cars, so the Coopers and the Lotuses, which have been dominating the series so far, actually found it too dangerous. Basically, the rear of their car was overtaking the front on the oval, and they found it so dangerous that they actually pulled out of the race. And in the end, only the front-engined Roadsters actually ended up racing, and that gave Ferrari its only win of the series with Phil Hill. It was actually Phil Hill's first ever Grand Prix victory. And MK says last time they used the oval was 1962, and I'm pretty sure it was 1960. I'll just check that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 1960, not 62. Indeed, it was 1960, so I think 62 may have been the last time the oval was used at all, but the last time it was used in Formula 1 was 1960. The race, of course, where Ferrari won their only race of the year, first ever Grand Prix victory for Phil Hill, and of course a year later Phil Hill would win again at Monza in the famous 1961 race, the very tragic 1961 race, where his main championship rival and teammate Wolfgang von Trips was killed when he flew into the crowd, and unfortunately 11 spectators were killed as well in that one. It's a famous crash and a famous piece of footage, very, very harrowing, and yeah, a very tragic race. Luckily, of course, no spectators here today, because this track was a very dangerous one for spectators. Tim Muttram, of course, has now made it up into 4th position, as I think Max Shepard just set the fastest lap of the race. But yeah, Muttram has passed Ferrante for 4th place. And that gets him one step closer to where he needs to be to fight for the championship. However, he's still a long way off, and he has to rely on potentially John Vandergeest taking Yucca Drug off, or Yucca Drug making a mistake all on his own. However, it's rare to see Yucca make a mistake on his own. We saw it a couple of times at Charade, but it is rare. He's one of our best drivers here at SimRacingOnline, and one of our best drivers with the Grand Prix 1967 mod. Of course, he won last series as well, and he's on his way to be a double champion of this series out of just 2 leagues. But he definitely had to fight for this championship much, much more than he did the first one. In the first one, he won every race that he entered. In the second one, he's only won 2 of 6 so far. He's on his way to his 3rd of 7. And 2 of those other victories were taken, of course, by Tim Muttram, who has kept him honest right to the end, and looks set to keep him honest even further into the race if he can make up that time. And alongside him as well, other race victors this series include Matteo Santini, who won a race, and also Daniele Scarpa. And it's a shame that we didn't see Scarpa for more of the season. He won at Bridgehampton. But of course, if he had made more of this series, then I have no doubt he'd have been a real contender. Santini, of course, won at Thompson Road, the Singapore round that we had earlier this year. And at the end of another lap, it's the fastest lap of anyone for Tim Muttram, so he is charging, trying to get back up in contention for this championship and this race victory. And you certainly can't count him off. You certainly can't tick him off yet, as there's over half an hour still left in this race. MK3424 says, man, this race looks a bit like the penultimate race of the movie Grand Prix. And I'm not entirely sure about that. I haven't seen Grand Prix. But it's definitely been an exciting race so far. And yeah, in terms of looking like those races, it's a very recorded during the actual 1967 F1 66 F1 series. Oh, great! I didn't know that. But yeah, thanks for the thanks for that. But of course the what's the word I'm looking for? Looking realistic. The authenticity, that's it, of this league is phenomenal, to put it quite frankly. Dr. Doomslab does an incredible job, or did an incredible job, of making this this mod, and you can tell just how realistic it looks and how accurate to the era it is, with the full banking, and also, although of course I don't believe Dr. Doomslab designed the track, just the cars. But yeah, these cars are fantastic as well, and if you speak to any of the drivers, they'll tell you just how realistic they feel, and just how exciting they are to drive. They're a very savage car, spitting flames, all-wheel drifting, and you feel every single bump due to the very wafty, very bouncy suspension. Thank you for your continuous comments, MK324, MK3424, sorry. More about the 1966 Grand Prix movie, saying they also had a modified Ford GT40 with cameras strapped to it as a camera car. Yeah, I've heard about that, and I've seen pictures as well. It's, yeah, they would certainly not do that these days. And remotely controlled cameras that tilted on the camera in the bank so that the camera stayed level, but the car would rotate around it. That's fantastic. Very much ahead of its time. Meanwhile, we have a proper battle on for the lead as John Van der Geest, who's just set the first lap of the race, is slipstreaming Yucca and taking a look through Ascari there. Although, of course, Ascari, very much a modern overtaking opportunity, not one back in those days. And now pulls out of the slipstream, and they go side by side down towards the Parabolica. And Drug backs out of it. Can Van der Geest get it slowed in time? It looks to me as if he can. Yes, just about. And John Van der Geest takes the lead of this race away from Yucca Drug. So Drug in the Lotus drops to second. And John Van der Geest, who's yet to win in this series, doing a great job so far in this race, has just taken the lead. Meanwhile, behind as well, Tim Muttram is caught up to the back of Max Shepard's car. But we keep on with the battle for the lead as Drug again takes a look to the inside. We saw him doing this a couple of times earlier on in the race and ducking below the yellow line and having to back out of it. If he can get through before the corner, he may be able to keep to the left-hand side. Oh, you saw him flying there as the surface changed, and he does get through. So Drug takes the lead back, going back onto the banking. And John Van der Geest is going to have to come back at him on the exit, which he does so. Sticks it to the inside as they cross the line, almost dead level. And they were pretty much dead level there, with John Van der Geest just about taking the place away from him. Look at that, pretty much nothing between them. And John Van der Geest takes the lead into turn one now. They're chopping and changing and swapping and swaying as the slipstream really comes into effect and allows them to race like this. I love classic single-seaters and the way that you can do this kind of racing in them. Drug now needs to set himself up for a good run out of the Lesmos, and does do so actually as they head under the banking. I'm sure at some point later in the race we're going to see someone shoot over that, and it's going to be one of the best sights in the world. Here comes Yucca Drug with the slipstream in the lower profile of the Lotus 49. Takes a look, but Van der Geest defends and goes wide there, slightly wide. Drug's going to have to come back at him on the exit. And of course, all the while, Drug needs to make sure that he doesn't tangle with Van der Geest or make any big mistakes. Because if he does, he could drop back behind Muttram. And he couldn't have just lost a win. He would also possibly lose a championship. He's now down and over the yellow line, taking the lead of the race. But Van der Geest is on the ideal line here, especially for the exit of the corner. Here he goes back into the slipstream to the outside now, towards the second part of the banking. Again, Drug takes flight as the surface changes, and John Van der Geest takes the lead back again. Oh, a big twitch mid-corner for Yucca Drug. But he keeps it nice and level. And they're side by side again across the start-finish line, with Drug taking the lead back. Who's going to be ahead into Curva Grande? You saw Van der Geest there reacting to Drug being in his face. And there is contact! And off goes Drug! Drug is in the grass! And he rubs along the rubs along the barrier. And I think Van der Geest is waiting for him here. I think he feels that he's to blame. And through again goes Drug. And Max Shepard's going to get a mega run on them. And this could be a four-way battle for the lead of the race. I'm just going to watch that back on the replay. Did Van der Geest hit him from behind? Oh, it looks as if he did. Van der Geest there just misjudging it and touching him from behind. And now it's 4 for the lead. Drug from Van der Geest, from Shepard, from Muttram. The championship is very much still anyone's game between Drug and Muttram here. It's Drug leading the race, followed by Van der Geest. MK3427 says, man, close racing. Slipstream's essential here, even when your car is perfectly tuned. Here comes Max Shepard to the outside of John Van der Geest for second, and the Eagles swap places. And this time Van der Geest gets it slowed in time to avoid running into the back of his opponent. Now, what can Shepard do about Drug? Can he set about chasing down the race leader? Of course, he led the race earlier on and then made a mistake at the Parabolica, but he's still in contention for the lead here. Onto the banking. He was telling me before the race that this is his most competitive track yet, and he was having a practice race with Drug earlier, and Drug was struggling to keep up with him. Here comes Van der Geest again in the slipstream to the inside of Shepard towards the second banking. And they're going... Wow, they're going side by side. And hopefully Shepard knows not to turn down too sharply. Obviously he does. Oh, very nearly touches the wall there, but just about keeps it under control. And keeps second place, gets an excellent, excellent slingshot run. But here comes Van der Geest. Again to the inside towards turn 1. Someone's going to have to back out of it here, because that is not going to work. And Van der Geest backs out. So Shepard keeps the position, and Van der Geest is going to be vulnerable from Muttram on the exit potentially. No, Muttram a little way too far back for now. And again Van der Geest attacks on the exit, and due to the slipstream of course, as Van der Geest does go through. So Van der Geest takes second, and that's the first move I think that we've seen today into the first Lesmoot. Not the best place for maintaining momentum, but still. Oh, and into the wall there goes Van der Geest. Van der Geest rubs along the barrier, and Shepard gets second place back again. So not the ideal line there for John Van der Geest. But as I keep trying to say, as things keep on happening, racing other cars here, you can still keep up the pace as you have slipstream from cars ahead. And now Shepard pokes to the outside of Yucca Drug towards the Parabolica. And they're going side by side. And this time Shepard does get it turned in for the corner, and he's going to get a good exit as he gets back in the slipstream of Yucca Drug's Lotus. Drug's going to get a poor exit there. And that's essential as we're heading out onto the banking. Max Shepard takes a look. This could go all the way. We're into the final 20 minutes of this race. And Max Shepard takes the lead in the Eagle. Max Shepard takes the lead. And it's Drug second, followed by Van der Geest and Muttram. Now Drug is undoubtedly going to come back at him here on the exit towards the next bank. And Shepard knows better than to defend that. Because of course Drug is just going to slipstream his way straight through on the inside. And sometimes the outside is the better place to be through the banking, especially on the exit. It doesn't really matter at this point in the race. You just need to fight and not risk anything. Oh, as Shepard touches the wall slightly but takes the lead. And you just need to wait until the end of the race and hope that your opponents make a mistake. Drug takes another look to the outside. He has the ideal line into turn 1 here. Shepard may have to back off, and he does. Very wisely. And gets back in the slipstream on the exit. This is fantastic racing. A really close scrap for the lead of the race, which could well decide the championship. It's Drug and Muttram that are in contention for it, and both of them are in this four-car chain. Muttram not quite getting as involved yet, just biding his time and trying to slipstream his way closer, but not being able to get close enough just yet. And making a slight mistake on the exit of the Lesmus, I feel, as he's lost about 0.3 of a second there. When I said that Drug took the lead, I should have said takes the lead for now, as MK points out. And indeed it is very much for now, because of all of the slipstreaming and hard racing going on. Here we go again, more slipstream, more racing towards the bank. Here comes Van der Geest to the inside of Shepard for second, and Van der Geest gets it on the entrance. Shepard now needs to just tuck into the slipstream again. It's very, very bumpy on the banking, and Shepard's in the wall there. Shepard rubbing along the barrier, and that's not going to be any good for his momentum. Here we go towards the second banking. Tim Muttram now within a second of Shepard for the first time since the start. And out onto the start-finish straight we head again. Shepard now out of that second margin to Van der Geest. And temporarily back into it again with the slipstream. He's still going to be getting that distant tow. And it's the fastest lap of the race for John Van der Geest as he pushes to chase down Yucca Drug. More lead changes than there are contestants, says MK. As indeed there are. More lead changes than there are blades of grass in the runoff area there. Let's move on. It's all about setting yourself up through here and making sure that you have a good slipstream opportunity on the exit. Let's move 2. Muttram gets slightly sideways. And here comes Van der Geest. Getting the better exit out of him, and Drug needs to hold it through a scurry. There's grass on the exit. Make sure you don't kick up too much of that. Oh, as Shepard does. And Muttram. Van der Geest takes a slight look, but he's too far back for now as they turn through the Parabolica. He was just trying to unsettle Drug there by showing himself to his mirrors. And as they exit the Parabolica, we head back onto the banking section of the circuit. The most exciting section, if you ask me. Definitely the fastest. And Van der Geest goes down and over the line and passes Yucca Drug, goes through to the lead. And that is about the least excited I've ever got for a lead change, because it was set up for so long. And because Drug is just going to blast straight back past him again. Watch this. Yucca Drug back through into the lead of the race. No question. Has to hold it on the lower side of the white line though. And of course that can very much unsettle the cars, because it's like driving with one wheel on the curb constantly, as one wheel is so much more elevated than the other wheel. And Van der Geest sets fastest lap and blasts his way straight past Drug again. It's rare that you can set fastest lap on a lap you've been overtaken on. And they're side by side into turn 1, and Drug's going to have to back out of that one. Oh, and they're very nearly side by side on exit as well. Both hampering each other through there, I think. And it's Van der Geest who leads for now. Into the first Lesmo. I'm not entirely sure why Drug took a look there. There was no way he was going to have a real fully fledged attack into there. Shepard got a big twitch out of Lesmo 1. And with 13.5 minutes remaining in this race, it's Van der Geest from Drug, from Shepard, from Muttram, Ferrante, Brown, Tudal, Grucock, and Roos. But I tell you what, that order is absolutely, almost definitely not going to stay that way. Oh, as Muttram gets very, very squirrely over the grass in the background. Has to level out the steering wheel to avoid going off, to avoid spinning. Does go off. Here's Yucca Drug running in second place, but surely not for long. When I read out the order, I should have said the provisional order, because I tell you what, that's almost definitely not going to stay that way. Here we go, onto the banking again. And the gap between the leading pair is 0.6 of a second. That's nothing. That means it's really, really not over yet. Although, haven't been any changes or significant attacks in the last lap or so. I wouldn't say this is a particularly quiet period of the race, though. They're still absolutely together as they go through the banking. And out onto the main circuit. A couple of cars there heading into the banking, and those I think will be probably Tudal and Grucock. Actually, I'm pretty sure they're too far back for that. May have been Ferrante and Brown, but I think they were too close together for that. Yeah, it wasn't Ferrante and Brown. I think it was Tudal and Grucock. Shepard again pulls the gap for second in to less than a second, less than 0.9 of a second now. That's how close it is up front. Out of Lesmo 2, Drug sets himself up again for a good run on John Van der Geest. This is normally the part on the circuit where Van der Geest is stronger though. However, with the slipstream that really doesn't matter. Clipping the inside grass, clipping the outside grass in the case of Shepard, and Muttram again getting all the way over that outside grass and very nearly going off as Drug shows himself to Van der Geest mirrors. And you see some slight bodywork damage there on the front left of Yucca Drug's car. That's from where he rubbed along the wall a few laps ago. Don't think there's any suspension damage though. In fact, let's have a ride on board with Yucca Drug just to make sure. Yep, no suspension damage as far as I can see. Actually, maybe a slight amount. It does look as if it's hanging slightly, very, very marginally to the left. But really not that much at all. And he's going high. And now on the exit, there's going to be a full-on attack for the lead. With 10 minutes remaining in the race, Yucca Drug goes to the inside. And he slipstreams his way past John Van der Geest. Through he goes. And our champion-elect takes flight again. And loses the lead as John Van der Geest gets better traction. And well, not traction, but better momentum onto the oval, onto the second bank. And as we head out of the second bank, he takes another look to the inside line. And sets the fastest lap of the race. Yucca Drug takes the lead. What can Van der Geest do on the exit? This is where they came together a few laps ago to cause this four-way chain for the lead. Van der Geest being hung out to dry a little bit there. And having a little bit of a twitch mid-corner. But Drug has properly taken the lead now, with less than 10 minutes remaining. Not that that means much at this point in the race. Muttrum's been dropping back a little bit, actually. Oh, his Drug very nearly touches the wall there. Through Lesmo 1. Oh, and Muttrum does touch the wall. Has he got away with it? He has indeed, just about. Here comes Van der Geest for the lead of the race. Taking a slight look at it. I want to have a look at Muttrum quickly to check there's no suspension damage. No suspension damage, we are clear. That's good. And off goes Drug on the exit. Drug goes very, very wide. And Van der Geest is almost undoubtedly going to have a great opportunity at coming past. And here comes Shepard as well there. And John Van der Geest takes the lead. Can he get it slowed in time? He does not. He goes wide. And they're going to be side by side on the exit. But he does get the place. Van der Geest goes through, followed by Drug. And Shepard. And here comes Drug to the inside. And look at that Brabham. That Brabham has a front row seat, very briefly, to Yucca Drug taking the lead of the race. From Van der Geest and Shepard. Shepard going high. He needs to make sure he doesn't touch the wall like he did a few laps ago. But he's now caught right back up to this pair again. And any of these three could take this victory. Van der Geest to the inside. Shepard to the inside. They're both going past Drug. Drug's going back around the outside of both of them as they take flight on the inside. Drug very nearly in the wall. Shepard on the inside. Drug on the outside. Van der Geest leads in a slight contact for second, and I'm so surprised there that Drug didn't end up being spewed off to the inside. The Eagles on the inside, Drug to the outside, Shepard jinks across. It's 3 for the lead heading into turn 1. Van der Geest to the inside now. Has to back out of it, surely. He does. That's going to give Shepard a good run. Why do the two Eagles have to have the same livery? That's very annoying. It's Drug, Van der Geest, Shepard. Just about. MK says, how come the paint's damaged in the middle of Drug's car when he hit it with his wheel rims? Yeah, interesting point, but anyway. I think that's the least of our concerns at this point in the race. It's suddenly got very, very exciting here. Drug, Van der Geest, Shepard. 1, 2, 3. With Muttrum waiting to pick up the spoils. Van der Geest runs wide. He runs off. Here comes Shepard for second. Shepard goes through. And as they brake, they're going to be side by side on the apex. That's not ideal. And Shepard gets the place. Now on the exit, what can he do about Drug? Gets in his slipstream, but he has to be more worried about Van der Geest coming back through here. Going over the white line on the inside. Making sure he doesn't go into the pit lane. And Van der Geest retakes second place, but he's going to be on the yellow line. Hang Shepard out to dry. And Shepard, the Scottish speedster, exits the corner and powers his way, slingshots his way to the inside of Van der Geest Eagle and goes straight back through. Oh, and Van der Geest in the wall. Van der Geest rubbing along the wall, sorry, and getting very, very squirrely there through the oval. And that's going to be a weight from Shepard's shoulders. With Shepard second now, Van der Geest third. And here comes Muttram now. Muttram getting the run on Van der Geest and going through to third position. That's essential. He needed to do that to keep his championship hopes alive. Now he needs to attack Shepard to get up with Drug. Needs to get away from Van der Geest first, obviously. And we've got less than 5 minutes left to do that. Van der Geest comes back at him to the inside of Lesmo 1. And Muttram demonstrates some fantastic car control with a very Muttram-like all-wheel drift. That was fantastic. Fantastic. MK says the Eagles have the same livery because that's the rules, but no different number. Yeah, that's what I meant. Why don't they have different numbers? Very, very annoying. Shepard getting over the grass there. That's disappointing because that was going to be a really good run that he had there down towards the Parabolica. And to be honest, I had no doubt that they were going to go side by side into the Parabolica that time. Shepard getting a better line through the Parabolica though, with Drug going very wide there. Kicking out the car in the acceleration, kicking out the rear under acceleration. Shepard's best result so far in this series has been P4. P5? P5. Let me double check that. So a win would be incredible for him. Indeed, it's been P5. He's taken that twice. He took it at Riverside and at Charade. So if he finishes first or second, it's going to be a better result. If he wins, he will be over the moon. And I'm definitely going to call him after the race and give him massive, massive congratulations. Up the inside he goes. He challenges Drug for the lead. He takes the lead. Max Shepard in the Eagle takes the lead. And halted on the inside. What can Drug do about it on the exit? Drug will be... of course, Drug won't be desperate as he's going to win the championship so long as he finishes ahead of Muttram. However, he will still absolutely want this last race win because taking the win and the championship at the same time is exactly how you want to do it. Is Shepard going to back off or is he going to hold it here? He does not back off. That was great driving. Very, very brave there from Max Shepard. And I tell you what, this has been a winning performance from both of these top guys here, Shepard and Drug. You'd be forgiven for thinking it was a lottery. Oh, and Drug hits the wall! Drug has touched the wall! He's going to lose a lot of momentum with that. Is he damaged? Looks as if he's just about got away with it. Phew. Obviously, he just hit it at a relatively polite angle. We're heading on to the final lap after this one, and off goes Shepard! Shepard goes off on the outside and just about holds it. I thought he was going into the wall. Goodness me, that would have been a gutting way to end this this race. Drugs in his mirrors. Goodness me, that's got my heart racing. We're about to head on to the final lap of the race. Very nearly. Actually, are we going to get time? I think we will, just about. This is one of those races where you just want to hide the checkered flag. Muttram also under attack from Van der Geest, who goes through into third. Van der Geest takes it. And Muttram is witnessing his championship hopes slipping away from him here. Despite a fantastic performance all season long, Shepard's on the inside, Drug is on the outside. Also look at Van der Geest and Muttram in the background. Drug takes the lead. Yucca Drug takes the lead back again, on his way to his third win of the season if he can hold it. Max Shepard on the exit. What can he do? He's got to slipstream him here. Muttram's back through to third. Here comes Shepard. Takes a look to the outside if he can get a good enough drive here. He's going to have to force Drug to back off through turn one. I think that's going to be the case just about. Neither of them are going to want to have... Neither of them are going to want to... Neither of them are going to want to give it up. There we go. Drug takes the lead. Van der Geest, and off goes Muttram in the background, and we're side by side for the lead on the final lap of the race. Shepard's on the outside. Drug is on the inside. Drug holds it. I don't know if my heart can take much more of this. Out of the Lesmos. Towards a scurry. Drug setting Van der Geest up. Shepard setting Drug up. I'm getting confused as to who everyone is right now. The gap is 0.7 of a second. Shepard got a poor exit. Shepard got a really poor... What's happened to Shepard? On the final lap of the race. He's slowing. He's out of fuel. No. Max Shepard is out of fuel on the final lap of the race. Yucca Drug is going to win it, followed by Van der Geest and Muttram, and Shepard's heart sinks. That is the most heartbreaking end to a sim race I have ever witnessed in my entire life. Max Shepard's one of my closest friends, and seeing that happen to him, I am so sorry. Yucca Drug is going to very much deserve this race win. He's driven a fantastic performance. He's driven amazingly all season long. He comes out of the final corner. And Yucca Drug is going to be champion. He's going to win. He really had to fight for it. Yucca Drug is the winner! Goodness me! John Van der Geest claims second. Tim Muttram, despite an incredible performance, is going to lose the championship and finish fourth. Third. Fabrizio Ferrante is fourth. Phil Brown is going to finish in 6th position. Followed by... 5th position. Followed by Steen Tudal, claiming the final point in 6th place. But I am so upset for Max Shepard. That was his greatest race of his life, and I am... Oh my goodness. Steen Tudal about to claim 6th place. Great result from him as well. I believe his first point of the season. Indeed it is. His only point of the season. No, his second point of the season. My apologies. So a good result for our top Brabham driver. The Brabham was really struggling today. Bill Grucock is 7th. And 8th place is going to be Jens Roos, just about missing out on points, as did Grucock. And 9th place on the classified order is going to be Max Shepard. I'm going to give Max Shepard driver of the day. I have to. Just, what a performance. I can't believe that happened to him right at the end. Pulling a Jim Clark. Indeed, I'm pretty sure Jim Clark did do that at some point in his career. And congrats to Yucca Drug for the win and the championship. You couldn't do it in a much better way. Fending off a 4-car chain to win. And, of course, winning the championship with a race win is the way you want to do it. It was pole position, it was fastest lap, it was a win, it was a hat-trick for Yucca Drug. And he absolutely deserved that. Unbelievable performance from Yucca. He's my driver of the series, but driver of the day, Max Shepard. I almost feel like giving him a moment of silence. Anyway, thank you to everyone so much for joining us this year. I'm just trying to work out who finished 3rd in the championship, actually. It was Fabrizio Ferrante. So a good performance from Ferrante to finish 3rd in the championship. Great performance from him all season long as well. And that means our final championship result, our top 5, I believe, were Muttram, Drug, Ferrante, Santini, and then was it Van der Geest 5th? I think it was. Yeah, Van der Geest 5th. So good performance from all of those guys. And thank you to everyone for joining us in the YouTube in the YouTube stream. MK3424 was with us the entire time. Thank you very much for that. Sad violin is sad indeed, he says. I totally agree. But anyway, aside from the disappointing finish from Mac, he still says that was honestly one of the best races I've ever had. So much fun, and it's great to hear that he enjoyed it. And yeah, what a drive from Yucca Drug as well. Absolutely unstoppable. Well, very nearly stoppable, but managed to hang on to it. And very much deserved this championship. See you next time we broadcast the series. I'm not entirely sure when that's going to be. And congrats as well to Tim Muttram, who kept the championship alive down to the wire. See you all next time, and from me, Caitlin Penny, it's good night.